Hey guys, it's ChannelBK. Welcome to a somewhat late review. I'm really sorry about that. This one is for Lupe Fiasco, Tetsuo Youth. This is the 5th studio album from Chicago native rapper Lupe Fiasco, and I believe this is going to be the last album that he puts out with Atlantic Records. Also, before we get into this, please subscribe. It really does help out a lot. I know it's annoying. Oh god, this guy's asking us for this, but please, it does help out, so you can check out my other videos as well. Lupe has always been known for, having really thought-provoking lyrics and also song ideas and concepts, mainly on his first 2 albums, Food and Liquor and The Cool, and then he sort of followed it up with Lasers, and then Food and Liquor Part 2, the great American rap album, all that. And now he's finally come with Tetsuo Youth. Now, to be 100% honest with you guys, this is sort of the first Lupe Fiasco project I listened to all the way through. Not to say I haven't heard of him, not to say I don't know who this guy is. I know ever since Kanye put him on late registration and that was sort of his big moment, he's been putting out these projects. And to be completely honest, the first time I really heard of him was of Lasers, only because that was sort of the radio songs and that's what I heard somewhat on the radio. And then I heard a couple songs on Food and Liquor 2, and in all honesty, like the 1 or 2 songs on those 2 albums that I like, I don't really hate because of particular things. I understand the reasoning of the anger towards those albums, and I really see why people are mad at Lupe for going in that way, or I guess being forced to go in that way. Now, obviously, I listened to a couple cuts off of the first 2 albums just so I can kind of get an example of where people are coming from with Lupe from those 2 albums to his next 2 albums to this. And I'll be completely honest, I'm not trying to jump on a bandwagon, I'm not trying to necessarily say a certain bad or good thing about this album, but I really enjoyed this album. It was definitely an album that I just wanted to keep listening to catch something new, to understand certain things, to really see all the connecting points. And I thought this was just a phenomenal album. One of the things I was very impressed was the production. I thought every single song sounded very layered, lush. It had great instrumentation, a very interesting instrumentation on each of the tracks that really differed but had a good flow to the album. Now, this album is separated by the 4 seasons, the instrumentals. It starts with summer, which is kind of, not necessarily happy, but it's sort of energetic and a little bit more lifelike. Then it gets to fall, when it gets a little moody. Then it gets to winter, which is a little dark. And then the end sort of ends it with spring, which sort of seems like a rejuvenation in a way. Like I said, I really did not have a skippable track. Obviously, there are tracks on here that I didn't really hold up as much as other songs, but I definitely thought that there was a lot of great songs and a lot of great concepts throughout this. Deliver, which I believe was like the one and only single released off this album, was great, featuring some vocal stuff from Ty Dolla $ign. I love the idea of day-to-day jobs sort of being impacted and conflicted with the idea of going to the hood or going to these dangerous parts of these neighborhoods. And for example, the whole concept of pizza man and then piece of man. You get such a new perspective every single time you listen to the song, and I thought this was a great track. Prisoner 1 and 2 is also a track that everyone's talking about. The whole concept and also the production just made it super moody and eerie, and I thought everything Lupe was sort of spitting on that really had a great effect on what you were sort of feeling with everything going into this track. Blur My Hands was really good with Guy Sebastian on it. This is sort of a little bit of a poppier track, but I love his vocals and I love the weird mush of sort of the stripped down beat at the end. I thought that was really great, as well as Dots and Lines, which was the next song. There's a lot of clever ideas of, math and all this stuff thrown throughout. The banjo part. I know every reviewer is sort of talking about this, but I wasn't as thrown off. I wasn't necessarily like, what the hell is this? But I sort of feel the same way where I'm like, I don't understand why it starts that way and ends that way. I really don't understand the thought behind that. Madonna is another great song. I love the idea of this song, the struggling of inner city moms and sort of what they have to do. I thought this was a really great track. And Adoration of the Magi, which is the next song, I sort of loved the elements inside of the beat, which it wasn't necessarily jazzy influences, but there was nice horns and there was a nice progression. And I loved the hook with all the baby references. I thought that was really cool. Chopper, which is the big crew cut, was definitely a song that I think is maybe on my okay songs. Not okay, but it was really a huge weight lifted off my shoulders after I listened to it, because it is a huge song, and I don't think anyone's verses were completely whack. I enjoyed the song, but this was one of those songs that I never was waiting for. It was more of like other tracks on the album. Nothing on this album, though, can compare to Mural. This track, the second it came on, I just kept repeating. This is probably the most repeated song on the album for me. I loved going back, figuring out what else was new with the track. The whole Gambit line, the OJ stuff, the Queen stuff, the dictionary stuff, the roosters don't fly, the boosters don't buy, the whole beat stopping. I mean, it was like 9 minutes and the beat was phenomenal. I love the pianos. I love the bass and the drum hits, and then I loved how there's like no hook. It just kind of, some of like the bass kind of cuts off to let the singing back in, and then there's the times where like kind of the whole beat sort of completely stops and it's more of him just rapping, and there's just kind of the piano with some clicks. This song is absolutely phenomenal, and this just track, just like I said, every time you go back to it, you're sort of like, you catch something new, and it's just great. But in all honesty, I can thoroughly say I enjoyed this album a hell of a lot. I think production was great. What Lupe was spitting on this was great, because he's always been somebody that has been very unique. And, you know, there was this one time I saw him on Funkmaster Flex, and he did his freestyle, and like, he was so good, because I'm pretty sure that was just an actual free verse. Like, that wasn't a freestyle, that was a free verse. He's just so in it. I mean, I love this album. I really do. I could definitely say that the reason why this has so much replay value, though, is I think the fact that each track on its own has strong qualifications of the production and lyrical content. And like I said, even though there's 1 or 2 tracks I don't absolutely adore as much as like other tracks, like something like Mural or Prisoner 1 and 2, this album just has a nice flow to it where you just sort of sit back and you enjoy it. So what did you guys think of the album? What are your favorite tracks? Leave your comments below. Obviously, if you're a Lupe fan, you're probably watching this, or you're probably like, either he didn't say it was good enough, or he, you know, didn't talk about this or this. Guys, I really liked it, as you could tell from my review. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. This is Brian from ChannelBK. Peace out, guys.